Stories for all seasons. Men with their dogs and torches looked on at the edge of the forest. The dogs ceased their normally excited barking and sat, frozen, alongside their dazed handlers. Rusty, thick chains dragged along the cold forest floor as the sun began to peak in the east. Krampus's dark chuckles echoed between the leafless trees. Cold air whistled against the tear-soaked faces of the captured children. Like ants in a straight line, 50 barefooted children marched in unison, one behind the other. Stifled groans exited their nostrils, their eyes wide open and unable to blink. Their faces were frozen with petrified expressions. Between the trees, a pebble flew through the air and made its landing on a prisoner's right temple. The girl didn't respond to the pebble with as much as a whimper. Then another pebble made contact with her forehead. Again, her neck didn't so much as turn in the direction of the attack. Soon, soft but rapid footsteps crunched the leaves among the trees. One of the pigtails of the blonde-haired girl floated as if it was being tugged by a ghost. The girl's head jerked backwards, but her gaze was still as dead as before. Again, there was no response from the girl. The chains attached to the cuffs on the girl's wrists began to tug and jerk out of rhythm with her marching. It looked like a spirit suddenly possessed them. Then a glowing red line appeared on the cuffs binding her wrists, eventually becoming the place where the cuffs split and broke. Life suddenly appeared on the girl's face, transforming her dead expression into sheer horror. The girl's mouth widened, and from it dispelled a piercing scream. The fur on Krampus's hairy back stood up like a wolf readying itself to attack. His deep black eyes turned to the line of bound children, and he growled when he saw no girl with pigtails attached to the end of his chain of captives. From the front of the line, Krampus leaped over the now 49 children. His hooves met the ground with a resounding thud and splashed dirt, dead leaves and branches in every direction. He clasped the broken and tampered cuffs and sniffed it like a hungry beast tracking its prey.
"Elves, pesky elves,"
he said with a raspy voice. He bore his sharp red teeth, showing his annoyance with wrinkles in his long nose. All the children stood at attention, still facing the direction they were walking originally.
"Give her back. She is mine. Do not interfere with fate, elf,"
Krampus said. From his back, he pulled out an elongated bundle of birch switches. With the switches, he hit a nearby tree, taking out a concerningly large chunk from the tree's trunk.
"I can smell your fear. I can smell the panic in your bloodstream as your heart races,"
Krampus said. Then he bashed another tree with his birch switches. A small grunt sounded a few meters away. His eyes flashed in the direction of the whimpers. Smoke exuded from his flared nostrils. Suddenly, he charged in the direction of the sound, leading with his jagged horns like a bull. Then a defiant scream rattled the air. The blonde girl, and what looked like a pointy-eared human, appeared from what seemed like an invisible veil. The pointy-eared girl grabbed the blonde girl by her pigtails and ran from the charging monster. The girls zigzagged between trees, giving themselves more distance from Krampus. Krampus slammed into the trees, breaking most of them in two. The pointy-eared girl inflated her chest with air, and both her and the blonde girl vanished again. Krampus tried to swipe in the direction he last saw the girls, but only grasped air in his long black claws. For a few minutes, Krampus thrashed around, hitting trees and vegetation with the birch switches. After a while, he stopped, baring his teeth and growling.
Hear me this day, elf. That girl will get her punishment, and you will get yours,
Krampus said. Krampus jumped above the trees and back to the front of his line of prisoner children. After the chains resumed their rhythmic dragging, a desperate gasp for air followed. The girls reappeared from their invisible veil once again. The freed girls' eyes darted in every direction, jumping at every crackle and shuffle created by the wind.
Are you okay?
The pointed-eared girl said. The blonde-haired girl nodded, but her frantic shaking said otherwise.
Did he take you from Yolemite or Finchester?
The pointed-eared girl said.
Finchester. So you've been walking for at least 3 days straight?
The pointed-eared girl said. She examined the sole of the blonde girl's foot and grimaced at the open blisters.
Yep. It had to be at least 3 days. No worries, though. I'll mend you in no time.
The pointy-eared girl grabbed a few nearby leaves, took a deep breath, and held it. She then rubbed the leaves together in the palms of her now glowing hands. Seconds later, she fashioned it into a glowing purple paste. She exhaled sharply and made the shaking blonde-haired girl sit on the ground. After rubbing the purple paste on the wounds of the blonde girl, she smiled and said,
That should mend it.
The blonde-haired girl's cheek turned paler than before as she rubbed the soles of her now blister-free feet and said,
How did you... What? I'm an elf, of course. I thought the monster would have made that clear by now. My name is Bee, by the way.
Bee said. Bee then gestured to the blonde-haired girl to complete the exchange of names.
Oh, my name is Anna.
Anna said.
Anna. You can't get more Finchester than Anna. No offense. It's just that every other girl in Finchester has that name. You would think after 200 years they would maybe branch off into something original like Cephalopetia or Heptaringa or...
Bee looked at Anna's puzzled face and swallowed the remaining babbling.
Forgive me. I tend to float off into the sunset at times.
What was that thing?
Anna said.
Oh, do you mean the hairy, ugly brute with goat legs and stale breath? That's Krampus.
Bee said. Anna's eyes protruded from its sockets.
You mean he's real?
Absolutely.
Bee said.
But you're an elf. Aren't you supposed to be his minion? Aren't you supposed to be, well, evil too?
Anna said.
If I was, you'd still be marching in chains, getting ready to be whipped by Krampus in the underworld.
I do suppose you're right.
Anna said.
By the way, the minions you were referring to are called Rowan. They're the reason we have to get out of here before the sun rises.
Bee said. Bee suddenly froze, putting her finger to her lips to silence Anna. Anna resumed her paranoia, darting her eyes in different directions. Bee's ears began to twitch. She lowered herself, picking up a long branch and a dried-up vine and connected them at both ends. she took a deep breath and held it. The vine and branch suddenly became elastic like a bow. Then she took another branch and sharpened one end like the tip of an arrow with her fingernails. She then drew her makeshift bow and arrow and aimed it at the top of the tree where they stood. She released the tree branch arrow, and it briefly whistled right before a shrill wail rang out.
Run!
Bee said. They sprinted away with the sound of heavier footsteps following them. Anna turned around and choked on an impending scream when she saw an abnormally tall man with antlers and a disfigured face chasing them. Bee then inflated her chest with air and grabbed Anna's hand. Like before, they vanished. Unfortunately, the man with horns swiped the space where they vanished and grabbed a hold of Bee. She immediately reappeared, kicking and thrashing in the clutches of the growling, giant horned man. As the man dangled Bee by her hair, he then stretched his mouth almost to the length of Bee's entire body. From below, a stone flew directly in the throat of the horned man. The man's eyes widened, and a guttural, choking sound replaced growling.
Drop her! Drop her now!
Anna said, with another rock in her hand. The giant dropped Bee and held his throat, trying to dislodge the stone Anna threw in his mouth. The girls seized the opportunity and ran away once again. However, the giant man held the saliva-covered rock in his hand with a rage-plastered face. A desperately angry scream dispelled from his jagged, toothed mouth right before he sprinted towards the girls again. The thuds of his footsteps became rapid again and was immediately within arm's reach of the girls. Suddenly, the footsteps stopped. The grunts became faint and transformed into distant ruffling. When the girls turned around, the giant horned man was gone. When the girls turned their heads back around, a very short, pointy-eared man, dressed in vegetation clothing like Bee, put his palms out to stop the girls.
Uncle Acorn.
Her face seemed happier when the giant was chasing them.
Acorn put his hand on his waist, making his annoyance with Bee obvious. Bee twiddled her thumbs and diverted her eyes to the trees around her.
What is rule number 1?
Acorn said, walking close to Bee.
Never be...
Never be seen.
Acorn interrupted.
And what is rule number 2?
Acorn said, walking closer to Bee.
Report. Don't...
Report, don't interfere.
Acorn yelled.
And what is rule number 3?
Acorn said.
Don't...
Bee stopped, expecting her uncle to interrupt again.
Say it.
Acorn said.
Don't... die.
Don't die no matter what. I can't believe you would do something so irresponsible on your very first lone patrol. I should send you back to the North Pole to hammer trinkets.
Acorn said. Anna tried not to be noticed for fear of somehow receiving some of Bee's tongue lashing. Acorn turned to Anna and smiled, completely brightening his demeanor.
Hello there. My name is Acorn.
Acorn said, bowing and putting his hand across his chest.
What is your name, young lady? And from where do you hail?
Acorn said with a smile.
My name is Anna, and I'm from Finchester.
Anna said. Acorn widened his eyes and turned to Bee. His smile immediately vanished, and his face tightened into a furious expression.
You took this girl all the way from Finchester?
Acorn said.
No, she was...
Finchester, Bee?
Acorn said.
Excuse me, Mr. Acorn, but she didn't take me from Finchester.
Acorn turned around and looked at Anna with a smile.
It was Krampus, sir.
Anna said. Acorn laughed and said,
I see you two have become good friends. She's already having you lie for her.
She's not lying, Uncle Acorn. It was Krampus.
Acorn turned to Bee with pursed lips and said,
Not one word from you.
Bee hung her head.
It's true, sir. She did save me from him.
If it's true, what does he smell like?
Acorn asked.
He smells like smoke.
Anna said. Acorn's face fell.
My goodness,
Acorn said. He turned to Bee with a concerned expression and said,
Why haven't you reported this to me?
Acorn said.
I sent a sparrow to the North Pole as soon as I saw him. I panicked. I'm sorry.
Acorn gripped his long, ruddy red beard.
You messaged the North Pole? Bee, what have you done? Now they're going to send that arrogant fool here to...
To do what? Clean up your messes again?
Another voice said. In a tree, another short elf in vegetation clothes sat on a branch with his legs crossed.
Twig.
Acorn grumbled.
I see your protégé has already caused quite the stir in your territory. And it just so happens that she's your niece. It seems like failure runs in the family.
Twig said. Acorn clenched his jaw.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Twig floated from the tree branch and lightly landed on the ground.
Look at what you've done. You've endangered this human girl and nearly got eaten by a rowan. Such reckless decisions.
You're clueless. She just saved this little girl's life from Krampus.
That's ridiculous. Krampus hasn't taken any prisoners for hundreds of years. He has an agreement with Father Christmas.
What do you think that Rowan is doing in the net?
Acorn said, pointing at the thrashing horned man in animal fur.
It's a wild rowan, and your niece must have somehow disturbed it. You and I both know that they've been docile since the agreement with Krampus. How old are you, niece?
Twig said to Bee.
1200.
Bee said with her head hung. Twig chuckled and looked at Bee with a smug smile.
A mere child. Even if it were true that Krampus has broken his agreement, aren't you observation only rank?
Twig said.
Yes, sir.
Bee replied.
It's obvious you're using Krampus as an excuse to keep this human girl as your friend. No worries. She'll have her memory erased shortly and will be returned to her home. And you know communicating with humans without prior approval is a gross violation.
Twig said.
Let's think about this for a second. Even though I believe Bee has overstepped,
Acorn said, looking at Bee.
I did see the Rowan going after the human girl.
Acorn said.
That is ridiculous. The Rowan only goes after people who Krampus is trying to find. And since Krampus is no longer in that business of abducting children, your claim is unlikely.
Bee bit her lip, wanting to rebut, but thought it best to keep the chastising away a bit longer.
Now, I'm no amateur in this, and you know it. So, believe me when I say, I saw it with my own eyes.
Acorn said. Twig smiled.
Okay. Since I'm bored, we can make a little wager. Release the Rowan. If the Rowan goes after the human, I won't recommend your demotion and send your niece back to the North Pole.
Twig said. Acorn grumbled and rolled his eyes.
Fine,
Acorn said. He looked at Bee with harsh eyes.
Anna, please forgive me for this small inconvenience. I won't let it hurt you.
Acorn said. Acorn raised his hands to dismantle the net. Bee raced towards her uncle and pulled his arm down.
What are you doing?
Acorn whispered to Bee.
I'll just go back to the North Pole, Mr. Twig. I'm the one who caused all of this. I don't think Anna or my uncle should pay the price.
B said. Twig raised his eyebrows.
No, go ahead. If it means you won't get in trouble, I'll do it. I trust you.
Anna said.
Anna, you don't have to.
It's okay, B. Both of you have saved my life twice already.
How touching. B, Acorn, in the trees now. Let the rowan loose. I'm getting bored.
Twig said. Anna moved a good distance from the net, and the elves retreated to the trees. Acorn lowered the net from a distance. The rowan tumbled around, untangling itself from the vine-woven net. It began running around like a mad beast. Twig looked at Bee and Acorn smiling and said,
As I suspected, the rowan has no interest in humans. Now prepare yourself to go back to the north.
The rowan caught Anna in its gaze. With flared nostrils and widened eyes, the rowan dashed towards Anna with unwavering focus. Then, the rowan froze within arm's length of Anna.
Looks like no one is going to the North Pole,
Acorn said with a laugh. Twig floated down from the tree, keeping his hand stretched towards the rowan, keeping it in suspended animation. Acorn savoured the embarrassment by slapping his leg and laughing obnoxiously.
Well, I suppose we'll have to investigate,
Twig said with pursed lips.
I suppose so, sir.
Bee said. She started to smile, then shifted to a more serious face when Twig glared at her. Anna held her chest and sat down on the forest floor. Her breathing was harsh and rapid.
You did good, Anna.
Bee said, patting Anna's back.
Okay, Twig, what do we do now?
Acorn said.
Well, we have to subdue the rowan and investigate.
Agreed.
Acorn said. With his other hand stretched to the ground, Twig opened up a large, deep hole in the forest floor. Twig lowered the rowan slowly in the hole, and a few hundred thick roots interlaced each other to cover the hole's opening. Anna stood at the edge of the hole with Bee, but looked away after the depth of the hole became too disturbing to look at.
Is he going to stay in there forever?
Anna asked.
Oh no, this is just a temporary fix until we deal with this Krampus issue. Unless it's a clear matter of self-defense, it's against the rules to be cruel to any creature, even if it's rowan,
Acorn said.
I wish we could just do away with them. It would give Krampus less hounds to hunt down victims like yourself.
Twig said to Anna.
I don't understand.
Anna said. Twig shook his head, rolled his eyes, and said,
The rowan is what Krampus uses to monitor, track, and capture children. Think about the rowan like Krampus's personal hunting dogs.
Anna's mouth gaped.
Are there more?
Anna said. Her hands began trembling.
Oh yes, the forests are littered with them. They only manifest themselves to humans when they are hunting, like this one. But don't worry about that right now. Luckily, you're with the very ones who can protect you against them,
Acorn said.
I meant to ask you about that. What kind of elves are you?
Anna said.
We are forest elves. We are tasked with protecting the forests and keeping balance in nature.
Bee said.
That's good to know that you know your role. If only you can stay in that role and not overstep.
Twig said.
Take it easy on her. She's young, but her heart is in the right place,
Acorn said.
That's easy for you to say. You're not the one who has to answer to Santa.
Twig said. Anna furrowed her eyebrows and said,
Santa? Like Santa Claus?
Yes, Father Christmas himself.
Bee said. Her eyes twinkled.
So, are you the same kind of elves that live in the North Pole?
Anna asked.
The exact same. We just have different duties. Ages ago, Santa used to live in these very forests, doing the very things we're doing now.
Acorn said.
All right. Enough with the history lesson. We have things to do and a Krampus to track.
Twig said. Twig put his thumb and index finger in his mouth and whistled. Seconds later, galloping could be heard coming from different directions.
Bee, you ride with Anna and don't fall behind.
Acorn said.
Ride? What are we riding?
Anna asked.
Reindeer, of course.
Bee said with a smile.
From between the trees, the large, wide-horned reindeer came trotting towards the group. Twig and Acorn hopped on the back of two of them. Bee pulled herself on the third reindeer and helped Anna by the hand to ride as her passenger.
Hold on to me.
Bee said. They began moving, trotting moderately on the reindeer.
This is so strange. I feel like I'm living in a storybook right now. I guess the only thing that's missing is us actually flying on these reindeer. But that's silly, right?
Anna said to Bee.
What do you mean? That's exactly what we're going to do.
Bee said. Then Twig said,
All right, everybody, look sharp.
With no time to prepare, the reindeer took to the air with blinding speed. Anna closed her eyes and squeezed Bee's torso. Her pigtails extended straight back from the force of the air. Bee giggled as Anna's head pressed onto her back.
Amazing, isn't it?
Bee said.
Not really.
Anna replied.
You should relax. You are far safer up here than down there. Fortunately, Rauhen can't fly. Besides, the view is amazing. Take a look.
Anna opened one eye and peeked through her barely opened eyelid. When she looked down, both eyes popped open. It was as if she was reintroduced to nature. The snake-shaped rivers perfectly reflected the warm sunlight, imitating the shimmer of a polished jewel. The colors on the snow-capped mountains were so much more detailed and beautiful than the foggy and clouded view from Finchester's plains. They then elevated even more, flying above geese who were headed to the east in triangular formation. All of a sudden, Anna's fear of falling was a forgotten past. Anna's grip on Bee loosened. Anna giggled a few times, closing her eyes as the wind ran through the strands of her hair.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Bee said.
This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Anna said.
This was one of the reasons why I wanted to get out of the North Pole. Don't get me wrong, the North Pole is 10 times more beautiful than this. But out here is a bit more exciting. You know, with all the danger and problem solving. My parents and siblings thought I was crazy to choose the forest over the factory.
Bee said.
I can see that. But don't you miss being safe and not having to stay hidden all the time?
Anna said.
At times it can be a bit overwhelming. I like the fact that I don't have to constantly be told what to do by my parents all the time. They treat me like I'm still 300 years old. Out here, I only have to suffer the occasional scolding from Uncle Acorn.
Bee said.
You know, I've been meaning to ask you something. Earlier, you mentioned to Twig that you were 1200. How can you be 1200 when you only look 12 like me?
Anna said.
We age slower than humans, much slower. We also grow shorter the older we get. After we're born, we grow just like humans do. But after we stop growing, we get shorter. That's why I'm so much taller than Twig and Uncle Acorn. Age has its perks to elves, though. The older we get, the more powerful our magic becomes. So, if you try to go after a really short elf, your goose is cooked. And if you think they're short, you should see my grandparents. They meet me right beneath my kneecaps.
Anna's mouth gaped, then grew into a smile.
So, how old can elves get?
We can get as old as our decisions let us.
B said.
I don't understand.
Anna said.
If we don't endanger ourselves, we can live forever.
B said. Anna's eyes widened.
I've had a few questions for you too. Krampus is a really bad guy, we can all agree. But he doesn't target any random children. He sends the Rowan out to scout unruly children. So, my question is, what did you do to get picked up?
B said. Anna paused, then took a deep breath and said,
It was mostly my fault, but the other children kept making fun of the holes in my clothes. My family isn't very fortunate. We barely have enough to eat 1 meal a day, so new clothes is never a priority in my house. Everyone else could afford more, so the children usually will tease me as their favourite pastime. So, while they were all swimming in the lake, I cut holes in their clothes.
B laughed incredibly hard, causing tears to stream down her cheeks.
That was the absolute funniest thing I've ever heard. I bet it felt a bit more breezy when they got out.
Anna chuckled a bit.
Well, I could see why Krampus would target you. But it's still not worth being held captive by him. No child deserves that. I know how incredibly silly children can be. They make fun of me back at the North Pole for not being able to use my magic properly all the time.
B said.
That's not what I saw. You healed my feet and turned us invisible. If that's not magic, then I don't know what is.
Anna said.
Thank you for that. But they're right. In order for me to use my magic, I have to hold my breath. Once I release the air, the magic stops. No one else has to do that.
B said. Anna patted B on the shoulder and said,
Well, I still think you're great.
Anna said.
Let's go down there.
Twig said. The reindeer descended to a small clearing in the forest below, near a brook. Twig and Acorn walked cautiously on the side of the brook, near the vegetation, surveying their surroundings for anomalies.
I suppose your niece was right.
Twig said to Acorn.
She was right indeed.
Acorn said. Bee smiled, then uncurled her lips when Twig glared at her.
This must be where Krampus's descent to the underworld begins. Look at this brook here.
Twig said.
It looks pretty normal to me.
Anna said. Twig rolled his eyes after Anna's comment.
Remind me, why is she still with us?
Twig said.
Because Krampus is still after her. Leave the poor girl alone. She's just curious about our world.
Acorn said. Twig pursed his lips.
Anna, this brook is running in the opposite direction. When powerful and destructive entities like Krampus passes through nature, they typically upset the balance. Do you see those leaves blowing over there? They're blowing in the opposite direction of the wind.
Anna wet her finger and widened her eyes when she held it against the wind.
That's amazing and frightening at the same time.
Anna said. Twig waved his hand and said,
Enough of the jabbering. We have to proceed with caution. I suspect that...
Look out!
Bee shouted. She held her breath and threw a branch like a spear in the direction of Twig. The branch narrowly missed Twig's head and made impact between two random trees on the other side of the brook. A furious Rowan growled and leaped on top of the group. This one was much larger than the one they caught earlier. The group scattered. Bee grabbed Anna and barely escaped the gigantic heel of the Rowan. The Rowan removed the branch Bee threw from his shoulder. He turned his face to the sky and rattled the ground with a low-pitched scream.
Both Acorn and Twig stretched their hands forward, and 6 large oak trees fell on top of the Rowan, pinning it to the ground. Shortly after, Bee screamed,
There's more! A lot more!
What are you talking about, Bee? I don't see anything.
Acorn said, turning his head in every direction.
A second later, 16 large trees transformed into 16 humongous, furious-faced Rowan.
What in the world am I witnessing?
Twig said.
We're witnessing a new kind of evil.
Acorn replied. The Rowan ran towards the group with disturbing speed.
Be on your guard, elves.
Twig said. Acorn, Twig, and Bee encircled the shaking Anna with their backs to her and their eyes trained on the Rowan. Heavy winds bent the trees with the might of a formidable hurricane. The Rowan pressed against the winds, still managing to slowly move forward.
Acorn, now!
Twig said. Acorn nodded, lifted his hands, and large stones came barreling down from the sky. The stones slammed into the forest floor, many of them burying themselves halfway in the soil. The stones quickly engulfed the Rowan, creating tall hills of stones on top of them. The winds calmed, and the sky was clear of flying stones. Twig and Acorn relaxed, but Bee, and especially Anna, was still on edge. Twig looked at Bee with a slightly ashamed expression. He took a deep breath with his shoulders dropped and said,
Thank you for that.
No problem, sir. I was just doing my job. You know, observing and all.
Bee said.
It runs in the family.
Acorn said. He winked at Bee. Then Twig rolled his eyes.
Anyway, it seems like we're not dealing with the kind of Rowan as when Krampus was last active.
Twig said.
Not even close. I think these large and more aggressive Rowan is a sign of some kind of new ambition Krampus is trying to pursue. Not to mention, they can now disguise themselves as trees.
Acorn said. Bee furrowed her eyebrows. Twig turned to Bee and said,
Yes, I've been meaning to ask you about that. How were you able to see them before they transformed?
I didn't see them transform into or from anything. They were just standing around. Then they attacked.
Bee said. Twig and Acorn looked at each other with confused faces.
That's quite strange. But I guess it might explain how you were able to react so quickly.
Twig said.
You know, my mother was the only elf I knew that could see through transformations or invisibility. When your mother and I were kids, we'd always get caught trying to sneak treats from the kitchen. It didn't matter if we turned into a pot, a spoon, or went invisible. She'd reach right over and pull our ears. I guess that trait skipped me and your mother's generation and landed on you.
So, all this time Grandma knew we were making funny faces behind her back when we were small?
Bee said.
Absolutely. She's just softer on you grandkids than...
Okay, enough of the fluffy moments. We have a Krampus to track.
Twig said. Acorn fanned Twig away with his hand.
While you two were jabbering, I noticed something peculiar. Look on the other side of the brook. After every few meters, the pattern of trees repeats itself as far as my eyes can see.
Twig said.
So, what are you saying?
Acorn said.
With the amount of Rauhan that attacked us in this area, and this stream of water running in the wrong direction, I believe Krampus is near.
So, are you thinking this is where he is coming and going out of the underworld?
Acorn said.
Precisely.
Twig replied.
I'll send a sparrow to the North Pole then.
Bee said.
No!
Twig and Acorn shouted in unison.
Geez, okay.
Bee said. Twig and Acorn began examining the area.
What was that about?
Anna asked Bee.
Their egos is what that was about. They don't want to ask the North Pole for help because they believe it will somehow make them look weak.
B said.
Well, they seem to be pretty powerful. I'm sure they could give Krampus a bit of a scare.
Anna said.
I'm not sure. The only one to ever confront Krampus was Santa himself, and that was centuries ago.
B said.
Wow, I'd never imagined Santa being much of a fighter. Well, come to think of it, I stopped believing he was real years ago.
Anna said.
I can see how you'd believe that. You don't live in the world of magic like we do. On top of that, he's rarely seen. I've only seen him twice in person myself. So I can see how he'd be more of a myth among humans.
B said.
Hey girls, over here!
Acorn yelled. On the other side of the brook, between the trees, the wind was still. The natural sounds of nature were mute. It was almost like being in a quiet room, away from any windows.
Just as I suspected. This must be where the entrance to the underworld is.
Twig said. Anna's hands began to tremble. She looked at B, whose face was not an encouragement to have courage.
B, we're going to need those special eyes of yours to be vigilant,
Acorn said. B nodded. Twig squinted, then moved towards a small bird who seemed to have its wings spread but floated in place. Then Acorn picked up a leaf and released it with the expectation of it falling. However, it stayed in the same place his hands left it.
We're close,
Acorn said. After a few minutes, they arrived at a tree 10 meters wide and a height far too tall for an oak tree. At the tree's base, an arch was carved out the size of a large door. Twig looked at Acorn and nodded.
Keep Anna close,
Acorn said to B. The smell of smoke filled their nostrils. It was now undeniable. Krampus was near. Acorn, Twig, and B snapped their fingers and illuminated the inside of the tree with flames from their fingertips. As they walked further into the tree, the ground began to slope. In the middle of the floor, the ground was bare of dirt, indicating that it was heavily walked on. Soon, they reached a perfectly flat wooden wall, signaling the end of the trail. Twig rubbed the wall, then jumped away when the wall hummed in response. Suddenly, hundreds of eyes covered the entirety of the wall.
State the name, or forfeit your eternity,
The wall of eyes said.
This doesn't look good.
Twig said.
This doesn't look good is wrong. State the name, or lose your eternity,
The wall of eyes said.
Is wrong. State the name, or lose your eternity,
The wall of eyes said. Acorn slapped his hand over Twig's mouth. Acorn then put his finger to his lips to silence everyone. He wrote Krampus's name in the dirt, then pointed to himself so it was understood that he would say Krampus's name as the answer. Then Anna sneezed.
Achoo is not the name. Krampus is the name. Prepare yourself for an eternity of punishment.
The ground beneath them opened, and all four of them fell into deep darkness. They fell for minutes, with each second becoming warmer than the next. Anna screamed until she was nearly hoarse. However, the elves spoke among themselves about the next steps of their plan. After a scream accompanied fall, they stopped and landed on something soft and squishy.
Okay then, let's be off,
Twig said casually. Once again, the elves snapped their fingers, and a flame danced on the tip of their index fingers. Anna put her hands on her knees to catch her breath. As they looked around, they found themselves in a cavernous prison with bars made out of stone. On the walls,
Rough depictions of a horned beast whipping what looked like a human made Anna shake. Twig and Acorn looked nowhere as worried as they should be.
Bee, keep your wits about you. We are in the hornet's nest, Acorn said.
Bee nodded, trying to look brave, but couldn't muster the courage to respond otherwise.
After I cut the stone bars, prepare to defend yourself. I imagine this place is crawling with Rowan,
Twig said. Twig punched a few of the stone bars, and the group cautiously walked through the opening. Anna stuck close to Bee and was careful not to breathe too heavily for fear of drawing attention. Then, the inevitable happened. Familiar growls echoed throughout the stone-carved lair. Twig and Acorn stretched both hands out, and Bee took a deep breath, extending her hands in the same fashion as Twig and her uncle. Squeals, wails, grunts, and screams accompanied what can only be described as the sounds of a million stampeding buffalo. As the Rowan charged the group, Twig and Acorn opened holes in the floor and walls, swallowing many of Rowan before they could come close. Bee pulled chunks of stone from the walls and floated them towards the Rowan, pummeling them with a barrage of stones.
"Atta girl,"
Acorn said to Bee. After a while, the Rowan's number became less and less. Soon, only weak grunts from injured and trapped Rowan could be heard. Then, the sounds of screaming children came from a nearby corridor.
The children must be over there. Watch for any surprise attacks,
Twig said. They sprinted towards the screams and soon found 4 young children bound with chains against a wall. 4 sizable stones came flying past Twig and Acorn's head and slammed into the children. Then, the 4 children transformed into 4 unconscious Rowan. Twig and Acorn halted and looked back at Bee.
Good show, Bee,
Acorn said. Bee started to blush.
Yes, good show and all that, but next time, give us a little warning before passing boulders over our heads,
Twig said.
Sorry.
Bee said.
Oh, relax, you ungrateful grump. That's 2 times she saved your hide because of her eyes,
Acorn said. After battling a few more Rowan and going around in circles, they stumbled across an unfamiliar corridor. As they walked through, they stepped cautiously, labeling every creak, whimper, or whistle as suspicious. After walking a few meters in, they found a very large stone door that reached the top of the high ceilings.
This has to be Krampus's lair, I imagine,
Twig said.
It could be, or it could be another trap,
Acorn replied.
Well, there's only one way to find out,
Twig said. Twig cautiously reached for the door. The group braced themselves for another possible trap door. However, the massive stone door opened to what looked like a throne room. The room seemed like it went on for an eternity. Unlike the rest of the lair up to that point, torches plastered the walls. The smell of rotting meat filled the air. To their horror, 49 emotionless, dazed children stood behind carved-out stone cells. The group huddled together with their backs pressed against each other, making sure there were no blind spots. As before, Anna was in the middle of them, trembling.
Bee, do you see anything we may not be seeing?
Acorn asked.
No, sir. It seems to be clear.
Bee said.
This doesn't make sense. We have a giant throne, the captured children, and shackles tied to walls. Krampus should be here,
Twig said.
Maybe he ran off after you guys dealt with the Rowan,
Anna said.
Not likely. That's not his personality. He's like a vicious dog with meat. He will not retreat from what he thinks is his.
Twig said.
Elves. I can never stand that stench.
Krampus said, coming out of the shadows. The hairs on everyone's neck stood up as Krampus's raspy, deep voice reverberated throughout the lair.
Krampus, by the authority of the North Pole, I command you to release those children, and if you don't, prepare to face the might of forest elves.
Twig said.
The might of elves? You speak as though I should be concerned. You and your band of weaklings may have overcome the Rowan, but I will not be subdued by pesky elves.
Krampus said, walking closer to the group.
I will give you one last warning. Release the children.
Twig said.
Prepare yourself and protect Anna no matter what.
Acorn said to Bee.
You give me these choices as if you have the power to stop me. Now, I will give you a choice. Release the girl, and I will make your end swift.
Krampus said. Twig nodded to Acorn. Immediately, Twig and Acorn began to float, with radiant lights covering their bodies. Bee took Anna to a wall far away from the conflict and stood guard, swiveling her head in every direction. Seconds later, Twig and Acorn darted towards Krampus, with sparkling lights streaming behind them. Krampus, Twig, and Acorn collided with a thunderous crash. Krampus slid a few meters, his hooves creating deep indentations in the ground. Krampus roared and dashed for Twig and Acorn. Twig and Acorn suddenly vanished. Krampus bore his teeth and growled while he surveyed the room for his invisible opponents. Then he lifted his long nose to the ceiling and inhaled. He curled his ugly lips into a menacing smile and darted in a corner with blinding speed. Within the same second, Twig crashed into an adjacent wall, bounced off, and fell to the ground. Krampus darted towards Twig, but was hit with an enormous force in the form of lights. Krampus's body made a small crater in the wall. From the stream of lights, Acorn appeared. With his eyes trained on Krampus, he said to Twig,
Are you all right, old boy?
I've seen better days.
Twig said. He stood up and rubbed the back of his head. Out of the crater in the wall, Krampus flew out with his birch switches in hand. He swiped down, and an extremely strong gust of air blew Acorn back. Just as Krampus went to grab a hold of Acorn, Twig appeared on top of Krampus's head and swung him around by the horns. Twig threw Krampus in the direction of Acorn, and Acorn kicked him into the air. As Krampus uncontrollably barreled towards the ceiling, Twig and Acorn followed to launch another attack. However, Krampus vanished and reappeared behind Twig and Acorn. Krampus grabbed both of them by the ankles and slammed them into each other several times. He dropped them like a sack of rocks, and they both laid on the ground unconscious. Krampus immediately turned his gaze on Bee and Anna. Bee took a deep breath, and both her and Anna began to disappear. Unfortunately, Krampus took Bee by the neck before they could move from their position.
That won't work on me twice, elf. Since you have made things difficult for me, you will pay for your offenses in whips.
Krampus said. Anna threw a rock, hitting Krampus in the eye. She immediately ran away, but stopped mid-stride. Her face stiffened into a dazed expression, just like it was when Bee first found her.
Krampus raised his birch switches, and his hand descended with so much force, the wind from the switches caused the limp bodies of Twig and Acorn to tumble. As soon as Krampus's switches came within centimeters of Bee, a loud ringing of sleigh bells rang throughout the room. At that exact same moment, Krampus was pinned to the ground by an invisible force. Bee was suddenly on the ground and uninjured. A radiant, warm light surrounded Twig and Acorn. Within seconds, they jumped up with shock on their faces and said in unison,
Santa!
"Twig, Acorn," Santa said, smiling and nodding at them.
We had everything under control.
Twig said.
Yes, we were just about to launch another offensive after we got up.
Acorn said. Santa chuckled and said, "Sure, you two did well." Then Santa turned to Bee. Bee's awe of Santa made her look like she'd been hypnotized, the same way Krampus did Anna. Santa chuckled and said, "And you did an exceptional job, Bee. You fulfilled your duties to the fullest extent."
Yes, I tell her that all the time. She is so full of promise.
Twig said. Acorn looked at Twig with deep disgust.
Claus, why are you interfering with my affairs?
Krampus said, struggling to move.
We had an agreement, Krampus. You were not to take any more children under any circumstances.
You did not hold up your end of the pact. I am the justice and discipline for all children. You just put coal in their stockings on rare occasions. That is not enough to make them behave.
Krampus said. So, should I just let you abduct them and whip them in the underworld until their cries satisfy your craving to be cruel? Santa said.
I am order and discipline. You are a denier of justice.
Krampus said. I am the giver of justice and a symbol of mercy, peace, and happiness. After this, I cannot let you roam free. So, from this day, you will be confined to the underworld, never to breathe the air of the human world again,
Santa said. Santa snapped his fingers, and the children locked in the cells appeared outside of the cells. Their dazed faces came to life again. The children looked around, frightened and confused. Those who spawned near Krampus pushed away, quickly creating a large gap between him and them. Again, Santa snapped his fingers, and this time Krampus was in a cell. Krampus thrashed around, ramming the bars with his horns and scraping the walls with his claws. The children screamed.
You cannot keep me here, Claus.
Krampus said. I won't. Unlike you, I consider mercy to everyone, even for merciless souls like you. Once we leave, you are free to roam the underworld, but nothing more than the underworld. The underworld will now be sealed from the inside and out. So do not waste your efforts on vengeance.
Krampus growled. With a big clap, Santa, Twig, Acorn and Bee were suddenly in Finchester with Anna. Anna was dumbfounded the entire time, looking at Santa as if it was too good to be true. Santa knelt down and smiled. Then he took Anna by the hands and said,
Krampus usually erases the memories of his pursuers. So, when your parents went after Krampus in the forests, they were hypnotized and their memories of you were erased. So, to them, it's as though you were never born,
Santa said. Anna widened her eyes
Then tears began to stream down her cheeks.
Under most circumstances, I would simply restore the memory of your parents immediately. However, I will give you a rare choice. You can return to your life in Finchester now, or you can return after spending Christmas in the North Pole with us,
Santa said.
What did I do to deserve that?
Anna said.
You put your life on the line to save Bee, even when you didn't have the power to defeat Krampus or the Rowan,
Santa said. Anna looked at Bee's smiling face and considered the fantasy of the North Pole and the magic she'd get to experience there. She began to smile, and for a moment she was engulfed with excitement. Then the smile slowly slid from her face.
I really appreciate the offer, and I'm sure Christmas would be a lot better there than here in Finchester. But my parents need me. Our crops are always low, so my parents never make enough to hire help on the farm. If I'm not there to help them, they're not going to make it,
Anna said. Santa smiled and patted Anna on the head and said,
You have the type of kindness that will eliminate the need for Krampus.
Santa winked. Then a stern sleigh bell sound rang out. Anna was suddenly back in her house, in her bed. She looked around her room full of old and broken things and wondered if her adventure was just a dream. Then loud and rapid bangs on her bedroom door, accompanied with excited yelling, caused Anna to leap out of the bed.
Anna, come outside now! Come look at the fields!
Anna's mother said. Before Anna could put on any shoes, Anna's mother yanked Anna by the hand and sprinted to what Anna thought would be barren fields. To Anna's shock, every single row of crop was grown to a healthy maturity.
This is an absolute miracle. Do you see this, Anna?
Anna's father said. He lifted Anna and swung her around.
I need to go to the market to start hiring men, because there's no way we can harvest all of this by ourselves.
Anna's father said.
We won't even be able to store all of this in the barns.
Anna's mother added.
What happened? How did this grow so fast?
Anna said.
I don't know. I heard bells jingling and went outside to check it out. Then, well, this.
Anna's father said. After a few more rounds of dancing and marveling, Anna's father dashed to the market to recruit help for their enormous harvest. As Anna was rubbing the oversized vegetables, she felt a sharp tug on her hair. Immediately, her eyes popped open and her lips curled into a wide smile. When she looked in the woods, Bee was on a branch waving, then disappeared.
Stories for all seasons.